Good morning, friends. Today we will be discussing about the relationship between the President and Parliament of India. What are the rights specifically guaranteed by the Constitution? Particularly, we will talk about right to address, a right of President to address both the houses of Parliament. That aspect we will be discussing in this particular video is concerned. First, we should remember, unlike the US Constitution, in the US Constitution, President is not part of the US Parliament. If you refer Article 1, Section 1 will make it very clear. It talks about US Congress means it consisting of the House of the Senate, that is the upper house, representing the states, and House Council, US representative, that is the lower house. Okay. On the other hand, in India, if you refer Article 79, which speaks about three aspects when it is talking about the constitution of the parliament, not the composition, constitution of the parliament. It says there are three stakeholders. Firstly, there shall be a president of India. Secondly, there shall be a council of the state, that is the upper house. Thirdly, there shall be the lower house, that is the house of the people, or Lok Sabha, whatever you may call it. So that makes it very clear President is very much part and parcel of the parliament. This is very important. Then the very important article is that it empowers the President or it mandates the MPs to take the oath of office before they enter into the house or before they take charge as an MP. They all mandated to subscribe an oath in a prescribed format in the third schedule before the President or any other officer authorized by the President. To that extent, President has a greater relationship with each and every MPs of the Parliament. This is very important. Of course, generally it is not done by the President. The oath of office to the MPs are done by a speaker called pro tem speaker. This is very important after the general elections. But if any person takes as an oath of office as an MP after the general election, say example in the by-election, he or she shall be administered oath of office by the speaker or the chairman or deputy chairman of the upper house is concerned, as the case may be. Now let us come back. A very specific article called Article 85. This is very important. 85 empowers the President to summon either house of the parliament or both the houses of parliament at the time which he has chosen and the place which he has chosen. So he can direct that the parliament can convene at so and so place at so and so time. There is a rule to this, subject to a condition. What is that condition? There shall not be an intervening gap between one meeting of the parliament or session of the parliament to another more than 6 months. So within 6 months, another session has to be convened by the President. This is not his discretion, this is mandate. So the President shall summon the houses. That is the wording used in this particular provision is concerned under Article 85. Whereas Clause 2 is a discretion. It uses the term President may prorogue both the houses or individual houses, and he may dissolve the Lok Sabha. This is very important. He cannot dissolve the Rajya Sabha, but he may dissolve the Lok Sabha or House of the People. This is very important. This power cannot be delegated to anyone. Only the President can do that. Then another important provision about the right of the President to communicate to both the houses. This is Article 86, where President can send message asking explanation from both the houses or either of the houses, whichever he chooses. He can ask about the pendency of the bill, or he can ask any other information, and it is a duty, the houses are duty bound to act upon the message, consider whatever he has stated, and then they have to reply back to the President. This is very important. Thereby the President ensures that the governance of the country is done as per the constitution. The governance of the country is carried on as per the constitution or in accordance with the constitution. This is very important. Another provision, Article 87. This is very important. It confers a prerogative upon the President to convene both the houses of the Parliament after the commencement of the general election, after the commencement of the Lok Sabha session, or after the conclusion of the general election. Normally, this session shall be joint session, because once the general election is over, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha shall sit together, and that will be addressed by the President. And he shall inform the reasons for convening this session, causes for convening this session. This is very important. And not only after the conclusion of the general election, at each and every year, at the beginning of the year, the first session shall be addressed. Joint sittings of both the houses shall be addressed by the President. It is a duty of both the houses to deliberate upon the message delivered or address delivered by the President of India. This process is known as motion of thanks to the presidential address. To put it in Tamil, குடியரசுத் தலைவரின் உரைக்கு நன்றி தெரிவிக்கும் தீர்மானம். What is the consequences of this motion? Say example, if this motion has been defeated in the Lok Sabha, it will have certain consequences. If this motion has been defeated in Rajya Sabha, there is no consequences at all, only a moral setback to the government. Whereas if this motion has been defeated in the Lok Sabha, and there is a constitutional obligation follows thereafter to the sitting government. What is that? The government has to prove its majority again by bringing a trust vote. Because you couldn't prove that your government is able to sail through, even for a presidential address thanks motion, or motion of thanks to the presidential address. This is a normal ritual, but this is called special address by the President. So Article 87 speaks about special address because it is special, because it is not happening in the normal time. It happens only after the conclusion of the general election and annually once. So it is rare. That's why it is called special address. Doesn't mean that the addresses which he makes under Article 86 is an ordinary address. There is no big difference between this address and that address, other than the reasons which I have mentioned to you. Then, President alone has the right to convene the joint session of the Parliament. This is very important. Under Article 108, only the President can convene the joint session of the Parliament. And once he communicates that the joint session shall be convened, even if Lok Sabha gets dissolved, it doesn't matter. The dissolved Lok Sabha should come together, sit together with the Rajya Sabha, and should pass the bill as mandated by the President. So they may pass, at least they should take a decision. That's very important. They should sit together and take a decision. Whatever happens, that is internal proceedings of the House. That aspect President shall not intervene. So this is very important. Then you can ask me a question, who else can, or whether President alone has the right to discuss or right to make an address to both the houses? The answer is no. There is one more person, because President is not either member of the houses in both the houses. He is not a member either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Similarly, Attorney General is not a member in Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, but he has been conferred a right to make an address, right to take part in the proceedings, but he cannot vote. This is a constitutional right conferred upon the Attorney General. Of course, this is applicable to all the ministers, but you should remember ministers happen to be a member in at least in either house of the Parliament. Only the Attorney General and the President are not at all member of both the houses, but they have been conferred a right to communicate or take part in both the houses of the Parliament. but there is a difference. Attorney General can take part in the proceedings of the both the houses. President cannot take part the proceedings of the houses, but he can address and he can summon, he can prorogue, he can dissolve only the Lok Sabha. So please remember, even President can ask any message. He can send message even to the Cabinet Council. Say example, when there is a decision taken by an individual minister, but that has not been considered by the Cabinet Council, he can ask what is the reason for that. To such an extent, the President has been empowered. On this, I don't feel that Cabinet advice is required. This is very important. Very, very important. On these aspects, you may not have any case law because these are all confidential communication or privileged communication. This shall not be called into a question by any court of law. So please remember, right to summon the houses, right to prorogue the house, right to dissolve the Lok Sabha, right to make an address and right to make a special address, and right to convene the joint session of the parliament. These are all the few constitutional mandated relationship between the President and the Parliament of India. God bless you all. Jai Hind.